welcome to the By Faith podcast, where we walk by faith and not by sight. My name is Kyia Mochitani, and I'm your host for today's episode. And you guys, am I just so excited for this week's episode, because we are brought alongside a very, very special guest. This week, we have a childhood friend, an insanely amazing dreamer, a visionary, somebody who thinks of something and goes after that something, somebody who is devoted to the Lord, and I just love his heart, and I'm very excited to introduce Andre Flores to the podcast. Welcome, Andre. I'm very excited you're here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing to be able to be on here and share how God has blessed me with many things, and just to be able to be on this podcast. And I know you've been doing it for so long, and have an open door to be able to come in and just kind of share a little bit of who I am and why I am the way I am. It's a blessing. So thank you.
Oh, you know what? I'm so excited to hear your heart. I mean, I watch you from afar because I think you are very busy. So I am very grateful for this time that we have together, first of all. But I watch you from afar, and I just see you thrive, and I see you work so hard. And so I want you to talk about I feel like what I see the most of you. So you do one-on-one coaching, even group training for soccer. And I see you work with these kids. Even I play soccer at the Lake Forest Sports Park, and I'm in a co-ed league. And I look over and I see your AF flag waving. I'm like, no way he's at the field still. Like, it's 8 p.m. So can you tell me just like a quick rundown of what your soccer training program looks like and kind of the heart behind it?
Yeah, so my soccer training program is called AF Soccer Club. I started it when I was a freshman in college. Before that, I was a gymnastics coach and never did gymnastics in my life. So that's kind of where I got my first love for kind of working with kids, knowing the impact I could have in their life.
Yeah.
And then there was a point in time where I decided that it really wasn't the right place for me to be in. I was stuck in a kind of inside a building where I'm usually outside playing with a ball and teaching something I don't normally know how to teach. So then the thought came to my brain was just like to start doing soccer coaching versus gymnastics coaching. And that kind of led me into creating a website. And from that website came my first client. From my first client came 3, 4, and then the kind of ball started rolling a little bit. And fast forward 4 years now, it's myself, one other coach. His name's Coach Sebi. He's an amazing guy that I met through Concordia University, Irvine.
Oh my gosh.
He's been coaching with me for the past 2 years and growing this with me. And then we also have another coach coming on in September. His name's Coach Mikey. He currently is working for a thing called Skyhawk. So it's like kids from 2 to 7 years old, just teaching them kind of the basics of all sports. And he's going to be joining us and bringing on his expertise in that realm, kind of getting the foundation set for a lot of kids to understand sport, understand respect, discipline, but also a lot of fun. So the team's slowly starting to grow, but a kind of story with me is I never had personal training growing up. And especially in Orange County, that's a big, big thing. And a lot of great athletes come out of Orange County, not only in soccer, but in football, basketball. Some of the top athletes in the country come out of Orange County. One being because of the opportunity that they have to live in such a beautiful area with such great coaches. But also there's a lot of opportunity here within kind of very successful parents. Parents that are willing to invest into their kids. So I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to have private training growing up. So it was a kind of a different realm for me that I didn't know how it worked, how it didn't. So it was all trial and error, trying to make it work. And it is working now. And I've only have a lot more time to continue to grow as a coach, learn more from other people, and just let God work through my feet and my hands to touch these kids in different ways that they don't get through other coaches.
I mean, I love your intentionality behind that, and I love how you shared that it was, okay, you know what, like, the goal was, I want to get out of gymnastics coaching. I love coaching, but I love soccer. And I love how you took that action. You believed in yourself. You're like, you know what, I could actually be a really good coach. And then you shared it was 1 client, and then it's 3, and now you have 3 coaches. I mean, that is so cool. Can you talk about what makes AF Soccer Club different than any other one-on-one group training program? What makes you so different?
I believe it's the energy we bring to every single training. Being out there for 8 hours a day when the sun is beating down on you and you've had a long day beforehand, it's a tough job, not gonna lie. It's not for everybody.
Totally.
But bringing the energy to every single session and knowing that the kids aren't going to thrive off of themselves, but they're going to thrive off who they have in front of them, presenting what they need to be doing in that hour.
Yeah.
It's mainly the energy, but also the way we structure our sessions as well. So we're really big on the body, the brain understanding the body. So a lot of kids don't really understand how to control their brain in a way where they're going to be able to understand how to move their body.
Yeah.
So we always start off by activating the brain, telling the brain how to work with the body. So that comes through ladder work, teaching them kind of proper arm mechanics, coordination. And then from there, we add in a ball. So you can't really dribble a ball or do something with a ball if you don't know how to control your body.
Totally.
So we teach kids how to learn how to control their body, and from there we bring in the ball. And it's very, very detailed kind of oriented sessions where we program. We have a plan for every single one of our clients if they're in a one-on-one session. And then our group sessions are kind of tailored to a little bit more of a basic kind of similar level of clients.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the coaching businesses around Orange County, they want to get in as many kids as possible.
Yeah.
But for us, we're very selective on how we make our groups, because one kid that isn't at the level to another kid in a group will ultimately bring down the group.
Yeah.
So we're very big on how everybody is going to be challenging themselves to be able to make that hour the most productive hour that they can have outside of their own team training.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about this all the time, and I think about this even with this podcast and whatever, like whatever you want to do and whatever you want to be really good at. We can even say running, for instance, like how much you put into running is how much you're going to get out of it. And I think sometimes so many of us don't want to put in the time or the effort to get from point A to point B. And for me, I could be totally honest, like with this podcast, I always had this imposter syndrome, this fear holding me back, that I was too afraid to put all of my eggs in one basket in a way and go all in, because I was afraid of that failure or whatever that looked like. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm just in this brand new studio. I'm just, like, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm going to go balls to the walls. And I feel like that's what you did. And I feel like with AF Soccer Club, you've put in the hours, the work, and all of the things. And it's been so cool to see you grow from an iPhone camera. And then I scroll on Instagram and I'm like, whoa, this is so professional. This is so insane. And then to see your Instagram just like booming, like it's been such a like cool thing to watch from like an outsider perspective. And truly, I do want to let you know that like your hard work and all of the little small details that you put in and that you do does not go unnoticed.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell me what like are the age groups that you work with? If there's somebody listening right now and they're like, oh, my kid or my cousin or my whatever could be interested, like what is your hotspot and how can they?
Well, starting September, we're working from the youngest being 2 years old
to
the oldest being college players.
Wow.
Yeah, but for me personally, I work with the youngest ages, usually 7 years old. So 7 years old, and they have to be in club because just the level that I want to be working with at that time. 7 years old all the way up to college. So but we have Coach Mikey doing our 2 to 7 year old toddlers. And then Coach Sebi and I usually start from 7 all the way to college.
Oh my gosh.
So every age range, which is awesome to say now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just got chills. Like, that's so crazy. I remember I did like maybe one private, and it was like my mom's friend or my brother's soccer coach, actually, who she was pretty good friends with. And it was the most boring, like just like dribbling a ball in and out, you know, like doing technical work. And it was like so boring. And then when I walk by your little setup at Lake Forest Sports Park, there's music, there's energy, there's everything. Can you tell me about beyond soccer? And I want to set aside soccer for a quick second. When we're talking about AF Soccer Club, can you tell me the other side, the goal setting, the mentorship that you're providing these kids, and the importance on why you are doing that?
Yeah. So kind of for me, I didn't really have that mentor aspect in a way when I was growing up. I had my dad, and my dad's an entrepreneur. My dad's a very, very creative person. He's always been. I've seen him open up businesses. I've seen him close businesses. I've seen him almost go, we've almost got evicted from our house. So I've seen the joyride of being an entrepreneur and what it really takes to become someone of that standard. And when I was in high school, I wasn't making the best decisions. I was going out partying. I'll be completely honest. I was drinking on weekends and playing on the weekend. And it was like the completely wrong path I was going down. And honestly, COVID saved me. COVID was like the best time because it took me away from all that wrong crowd that I was hanging out with. And it really just isolated me. And that time that I was isolated, I ended up getting a morning routine. I found every morning I was praying, reading the Bible. That's when kind of like my love on my own with Jesus started, and kind of like little dabbles in there with questions. And then from there, I was also reading Rick Warren's daily devotional, which I still read every single day.
So do I.
So good.
So good.
I love it. There's always a message in there. When I open it up, it's like, it's speaking to me
I
today.
read that. Yes.
Yeah. And that's kind of like where it started in COVID. But the mentorship is something I really take to heart because that's something I developed on my own. And I feel like it really separated my mind from a lot of the players that I grew up playing with throughout my whole high school career. I mean, especially COVID, it really messed up the recruiting process for me.
Yeah.
And then I came in my senior year and I had 0 offers. And during high school, I was training every day. I was going to the gym. I was like just working hard, but I knew God would provide. God would provide me with an offer. And I think it was like April of my senior year, I still had nothing. And then out of nowhere, Concordia University calls. And it was just this constant pursuit of trying to become a better version of myself every day.
Wow.
And Concordia calls, the head coach, Chris Gould, invited me out to a tryout. I went on, I feel like I did well. And I also had some friends that I knew beforehand that are playing there. And then 2 weeks later, he calls me and I needed a scholarship to go to university. And he ended up giving me the scholarship. So it's all God's plan. That's me ending up at Concordia is like all God. And it's crazy to say. And it's like, it's changed my life completely ending up at that school. But going back to the mentorship stuff is like, I was very big on social media, but social media is a very useful tool if you use it in a useful way.
Yes.
And it's a very harmful tool if you use it in a harmful way.
Right.
And for me, my social media at the time of high school was filled with just very, very successful people speaking in and like mentoring me through their content, mentoring me through YouTube videos and all this. And I've just been so devoured on this whole kind of like the pursuit of the best person you can be and challenging yourself every single day, day in and day out, where now when I was in freshman year of college, I started writing down my goals. And now I have all the kids kind of writing down their own goals, setting goals before trainings. I'm a psychology major within school, so I'm really big on the psychological aspect of training and that self-talk to yourself, because a lot of kids don't know how to control their emotions. A lot of kids don't know how to just understand what they're feeling in a moment and take in that emotion and really understand what it feels. Frustration isn't bad. Being sad because a game was lost isn't bad. Like that emotion is a great emotion to be feeling in that moment. So understand what you're feeling. And then from there, move on to the next step, which is the right thing. Yeah. So I'm really big on like that aspect of goal setting, all these different types of things. I use a booklet for them to write in their goals before training and everything. But I think it's a part of the game that isn't really taught to kids or isn't really looked upon as important in a team realm, but it's changed my life, and whatever's changed my life, I've been trying to feed it into the kids I work with.
I mean, there's so much to unpack there. First of all, one theme that I hear you talk about is you said in April you had no offers. Mm-hmm. I just want to let everybody know that's the end of a school year. Yeah. Like May is you are done. And you didn't give up. I think that is like the coolest thing in that moment, in that in COVID, right before COVID, when you were partying and drinking, and then you got to a point where like, I'm very unhappy with myself. You didn't give up. You're like, okay, I don't love this gymnastic stuff. I need to do something with my life. you didn't give up. And I think that that is so cool that you take that of I didn't give up, and you're going to pour, and you do pour that into your kids. You're not going to give up either. And you just breathe this potential into them. And I think that's so cool that I get the chills even talking about it, because I think back to the coaches that I've had in my life, and I've connected with some and I haven't with others. But I've never had a coach say, I'm going to sit you down because look at me in the eye. I care about you and I see potential in you, and we're going to grow, and we're going to grow together. And you do that with these kids, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 years old. And that is such a special gift and such a game changer. Another thing is, I think you and I are very much so cut from the same cloth, in the sense that we were in our self-improvement kind of personal growth journey right around the same time. I dropped out of college. I was like working 3 jobs. I'm going to these conferences. I'm listening to the like Ed Milet's and the Tony Robbins and everybody. And I'm reading all these books, Atomic Habits, Mindset, all the books. And I think back to that time. And while it was probably the hardest season of my life, I'm so grateful for that. And it's so cool to see us now at 22 years old, because back then, what were we, 18, 19?
18, 19, yeah.
Yeah. And see what we've built. Like, this is so cool. I mean, I just want to like say, this is like the coolest thing to see you where you are today. And I know that you're not lucky, that you've worked your booty cheeks for this. And I see that in you. And
you as well. Thank you so much.
I mean, truly, like, I'm at a loss of words of how intentional and how much you just breathe and pour into these people. Can you talk about this? Can you tell me what it feels like to have a really hard day sometimes, but then you got to be on for your kids? Because that's hard for me too.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm working all day and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm like, hi, everybody. Welcome to the By Faith podcast. Some days I am at 0 and it's hard for me, but I do think it's important still to show up. Can you tell me what that looks like for you?
Yeah. I mean, it was a repeat. So I'm going to go back a little bit to the point you said. You said don't give up, which is crazy because that word is like, it means a lot to me at the time where it was my sophomore year in college. So this could kind of play into your question, but my sophomore year, the business was doing well and I was just over it. Like days were so hard. It was waking up at like 6 a.m. I was on my 5 a.m. grinds that time. Yeah. I was going to the gym early. I think you were going at that time too. Yes. It was like 5 a.m. and then gym, and then I would get to school by 7:30. I'd be doing class till like 12, and then practice from like 12 to 2, and then I'd go straight from the field and start at the field from like 3 to 9. And then actually it was 3 to 10 because the lights would turn off later at Lake Forest. And then I would get home at 11:30, and then go to bed at 12 and repeat. And that was like for like, at least that was like for 8 months. And I would get home every day and I'd look at my parents in the eyes and I'm like, I want to drop out of school. I'm done. I'm so done. That was a repeat of 12 or of 2 months. And one day my dad was over it and he looks at me in the eye and he says, you're going to drop out of school? Do it. Are you a quitter? And I'm like, like, I just couldn't say anything.
You're like, really had to hit me with that.
Yeah, you had to hit me with that, right? Yeah. Like, dad's never wrong. So he said that, and then a little bit backstory is like, I'm a 3rd-degree black belt in karate, so I did that for like 12 years, and I wanted to give up so many times, but I never gave up. So that's like, I've got these like repeated don't give ups in my life, which is now college, and my dad's saying that. So that was actually crazy that you said that. Yeah. But that kind of plays into like, when I'm having the most difficult day ever and having to go and pour all my energy into these kids, it honestly just falls back to my, like, why I'm doing it. Yeah. And I mean, getting to the field is not the easiest thing in the world when it's those days. Setting up isn't the easiest thing in the world when it's those days, because I always set up an hour early. So I'm there an hour early. Wow. I leave an hour later. Right. And just, honestly, I go down on 2 knees and I pray. And I just pray for energy. And I pray for just guidance. And I pray for confidence. And I pray for just get me through this day and let me touch these kids the way I can, God. Yeah. And that's literally like some days it's like having a Monster energy drink and pounding that thing to get the caffeine going. But it's literally like, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's literally just leaving it all up to God and him guiding me through my day. And I mean, once the first kid comes, the energy comes because and they might not be the easiest session, the first one, but then the second one will be good. And then the third one will be good. And then the fourth one, you're like really pushing through it. And then I usually have my high school kids last. So those are like, those kids literally feel like my brothers and sisters. Because I've had those kids for the longest since I started. Yeah. So when it comes to like the last session, it's like it's kind of just like hanging out with like my brothers and sisters because they look at me as like a really, really close kind of like older brother, like mentor, which is like a mentor, which is a blessing. And I look at them as there's just so much love in that last hour on my Mondays, Tuesdays. I used to have these big groups, and it was such a cool environment to have those big groups. I always look back and I'm like, damn, what I would do to be back in that hour with that group of kids, because now some of them are in college, some of them can't make those Monday sessions because of their crazy schedules. And I just hold them so close to my heart. But honestly, it's all God when it comes to a bad day, because it's all perspective. It comes down to perspective.
I mean, and when it's a God-given dream and it's a God-given assignment, it's not supposed to be easy. Yeah. And the days are supposed to be hard. And I think that those are tests of faith of God saying, how much can you handle? Because I want to give you more. I see so much more in you. But if you're going to break now, then maybe we're not going to,
100%.
Yeah. And I told you this. I think I told you this, unless I just thought it in my brain. But I was so proud of you for graduating college, because first of all, that's a big deal. Second of all, you and I are very much so cut from the same cloth of we don't necessarily see like we have to have a degree to be successful. And I think that it is the coolest thing that you did do that despite your personal growth, your self-help. Because for me, my journey was, I'm going to start this podcast. I don't see the need for me to go to school. I was going for journalism, didn't want to write newspapers. I was like in Mississippi, red flag. And I said, okay, I'm not going to do school anymore. And being in this season where everyone's graduating our age is kind of so like weird for me, because I'm like so excited for everybody graduating. But I'm also like thinking to myself, did I make the wrong decision? But I know that I have peace in knowing. But I truly do, like graduating college and finishing, when you're working, you're building, you're dreaming, you're having visions, and you want something to go so big and you're like planning. I'm like, that's a big deal.
Thank you.
And truly, like, nobody can take that away from you. And truly such a big deal. We talked a little bit about faith. I just saw recently that you got baptized. Yeah. Can you tell me what went into that decision? Why that day, or that place? And maybe share a little bit of your walk with the Lord.
Yeah. That day was a very, very special day. My brother in Christ, his name's Tyler Oakson, an amazing human. And I was able to see him and his wife get married in Mexico, and I DJ'd their wedding, which was fun.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah, so their love for not only the Lord but themselves as a relationship is just so beautiful. And the way Tyler speaks, the way Tyler walks, the way he just is as a person, I look up to, and I know it's just because of God and how the way just Jesus moves in his life. And he's not always been that way, because I played with him when I was in high school and we were on the same club team, and he was a completely different person from that time to when I saw him again my freshman year at Concordia, his sophomore year at Concordia. And it's just been this like constant, for me, my faith journey has been just uphills and downhills, months of like not even opening up a Bible and praying, to months of just praying and fully being into the Bible. And then like I've been baptized before and all this stuff. And it's just been, it's been a crazy ride. Totally. And I think being at Concordia and being surrounded by people that believe in the Lord and classes that involve the Old Testament, New Testament, all these different types of things. But what really changed is I had a lot of questions about the Bible. I really didn't understand what a lot of it meant. I read it, but didn't understand. So this last semester I took Old Testament class, and my professor was insane. Like, this guy has been studying the Old Testament for like the past 26, 28 years. Wow. And has done all these trips and everything. And he looks in a perspective of like not super Christian, not super Catholic, not Lutheran, but like he just reads the Bible and speaks the facts of what it's saying.
Wow.
And like you can ask him a question and the guy doesn't even have to look at the Bible. He'll just say it like that.
Wow.
And it was so cool to be in his class. And he's like kind of quirky too. Like he's just like so funny. And I enjoyed his class so much, but all my questions were being answered.
Wow.
Everything, I was starting to understand like what the Old Testament was saying and how it was coming up in the New Testament. All these different types of things, and all these things I just didn't understand beforehand. And I was like all my questions are answered.
Yeah.
I believe that what I'm really kind of reading is true.
Yeah.
And I'd never believed that before. Like and I love Jesus. I've been faithful my whole life, but there was always these questions and they got answered.
Wow.
So once that happened, I was kind of shying actually away. I'm really bad at answering texts, and Tyler knows that. And there was one day I didn't answer Tyler's phone call, and literally I'm walking out of class and Tyler's walking up the hallway and he looks at me and you can just tell like I'm just beat, like stress from school, stress from work, all these different types of things. Like eyes are red because I pulled an all-nighter the night before to study for an exam. And he looks at me and he's like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, bro, no. And he looks at me, and at his wedding, I looked at him and I was like, dude, I want you to baptize me sometime like when I'm ready. And he looks at me and he's like, are you ready to get baptized? And I look at him and I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
And that day he's been doing this thing called proclaiming praise, bringing people into his backyard.
Wow.
He's doing his master's in theology, and
oh my gosh.
And I think it's like being like wanting to become a youth pastor.
Wow.
And he's doing like this whole thing with him and Sabrina, and it's just like it's beautiful. And the date came around and he said, look, we're gonna get you baptized on this day. If you have any questions, you let me know, but I believe it's like your time. And God was moving in completely different ways in my life. I wasn't in a happy place. I felt stressed. I felt like the work I was doing, which I really, really love in coaching, I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And I got baptized that day. And since then it's just been like, God's just showing me like, this is why you're doing it. Because I always catch myself in this comparison feeling of people online, seeing different people doing different jobs, and comparison is ultimately the thief of joy.
Totally.
And I know I'm on my own path to do the things I want to do, but through God's plan that he has in my life. And I'm not coaching just for nothing.
Right.
And I truly believe that God is doing work through me to touch these kids' lives in a certain way where maybe they haven't felt love like that before. They don't get the attention they need within an hour of time with me. Or a great story is one of my goalkeepers, Addison. This one's nuts. You went to Tesoro, right? Or you went to Mission.
Mm-hmm.
So my senior year, there was a kid who ended up committing suicide, and he was a freshman. And I was like, I knew of him, and I knew his name, just like, but like very, very kind of like didn't know him personally, but I knew of him. And I started coaching, and next thing you know, I have this amazing little goalkeeper. She was in, I want to say she was in like 8th grade at the time.
Wow.
And her mom is amazing, Dina. We started training together. We would do 2-hour sessions when when there was no lights, dark on the field and everything. And then one day they open up to me and they say their brother was that kid that was at Tesoro.
Chills everywhere.
Right. And then Addison Franco is her last name. Her brother's name was Adam Franco. And my name is Andre Flores. And we all have the same initials. And I gave her a pair of gloves one day, and they had a heart on it, and they both started crying. And they look at me and they're like, that's the sign of the brother, because the brother sends them hearts. So it's like, it's this crazy thing that I just knew it's a God thing. And now Addison just ended up committing to Concordia.
Shut
yes,
up.
I know. It's insane.
Shut up.
Yes, she just ended up committing to Concordia like 2 months ago.
Shut
and
up.
I got her the tryout. She went in, she balled out, And for her, it was like she wants to stay close to home. She wants to be with like mom. She wants to be able to play. And she ended up committing to Concordia, which is the place that completely changed my life. And I'm not pushing her. I didn't push her to do anything. She chose everything. She's shied away from kind of believing in the Lord, which I completely understand why, because I mean, how like so much trauma has happened in her life. And I just hope that the school is going to do its ways to be able to go and impact that. But God has, since my baptism, been working so much in just my work, my relationship with my girlfriend, my relationship within my friends. I've been outwardly speaking more about the Lord with people that I meet, and just not shying away from my faith and sharing it to the people. And yes, I'm not the perfect Christian. Yes, I'm not the perfect person, definitely. But I do believe that Jesus has my heart, and I live my life for him. And it's like a very, very challenging pursuit to go through. But I mean, there's nothing else you would want to do, correct? Like, it's just such a powerful way to live.
I mean, I was tearing up hearing that story.
I know. This is actually the first time I haven't cried. So
no, for real. Like, I'm tearing up because, like, that is so special, and like that mark that you're making on that family. And I feel like what you're doing is truly life-changing, and I believe so much in what you're doing. And I mean, I just couldn't help but just feel, I think about how Addison feels right now, knowing you and Addison's mom.
She's like my little sister.
And I think, like, man, like, you've completely changed her life from the inside out. And I just like get chills and want to cry all about that. And now that she gets to like go to a Christian school, see a place that's, I mean, wow, God is so good.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about the journey of faith and questions and doubt and all of the things, and relationship too. Jake and I, we walked through a hard season where I was very much like, I love the Lord, I love Jesus. And Jake's like, hold on, who is Jesus? Who are you praying to? I've heard of him, but I don't really believe in him. And it was hard for me because when I was also, it was the same time I was on like my personal growth journey. And, you know, just like, I'm dreaming, Jake, I'm doing this podcast, I'm going to do this full time. I mean, there's places I got to be, people I got to meet. And I'm like, you're either coming or you're not. And it felt like for a season that we were growing. We were in the same book, but just different chapters. And you talked a little bit about your girlfriend. Can you tell me what that is like when you're dreaming and you're in relationship with somebody? And, you know, my dreams is not Jake's dreams, right? Like, he is his own person, and I want him to love his life, whatever that looks like for him. But how do you support somebody when you're like, I'm going here, you can come and I support you, or you got, can you tell me a little bit about what that looks like?
I mean, I've definitely made it hard for her just because of how I'm so kind of like, I'm go.
Same.
I have my schedule. I have to follow my schedule. I have my to-dos. My to-dos come first and all that. And I've really kind of seen how it's selfish in a way to have someone that you love so much. And it's not like it's, how can I say? It's not, it's two ways.
Yeah.
I felt like it was more one way at the beginning of our relationship, because I was like, I need to do this, work, school, family, then you come next.
Yeah.
But if you're getting into a relationship with someone, it's God, and then family, and then you guys.
Yeah.
And we came into like a season of our relationship where it was like, we were really like, she was feeling hurt. And I would like make her cry because I was not around. I wasn't I'm not the best communicator.
Same
surprisingly.
here. Okay, we are very similar. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not the best communicator, and I mean, I just wasn't to be honest, I wasn't a good boyfriend. And she's a very good communicator, and she's a very, very great person, and she just was super open and let me know like how she was feeling. And I was like, of course, like at the time, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
This is literally me and Jake. No, legit. Like, I can't even tell you.
Yeah. And it took some time, especially seeing Tyler and Sabrina get married and seeing their love. Literally, what is it? On Friday, I was DJing a wedding for my friend Roger and Hannah.
Oh my gosh.
And their love is centered around the Lord.
Wow.
And Maddie was actually at that wedding with me, and it's just a tough thing, you know, like having all these dreams for yourself, knowing where you need to be at every single time of the day and knowing what you need to get done, but also needing to invest into a relationship that's so important, because I truly believe that we're going to be walking life together.
Yeah.
And if I believe that, I have to act on it and act the right way.
Yeah.
And if I'm not doing that, then she's getting hurt, and later on I'm going to get hurt.
This is so real. Like,
yeah.
This is so real.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm just like, it took me a while. I mean, we've been dating for a little over 2 years now, but like it took me at least a year to understand that.
I mean, Jake and I still practice this because I have a lot of non-negotiables in the day. I tell him, like, these are the things I am getting done. Nothing and nobody will get in my way. And Jake is very much so available. He like is so able to put aside work and then me. And then when it's me time, where I have a hard time of like, every time is my work time. I'm always thinking, I'm always dreaming. I always have something going on, something on my plate. And it got to a point when I was working 3 jobs, almost 16-hour days, waking up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym and all of the things that I wasn't available for him, and we were very disconnected. But it's the reality and it's the truth of growing and creating something from the ground up. It's really hard. And and also to be in a relationship at the same time is very hard. But it's also knowing and just growing and learning every single day of, okay, you know what? It's okay to mess up today. I learn from today, and tomorrow will be better. And now Jake and I are very good at when we go on dates, it's like, okay, my phone's away. It's just us. Like, I'm going to look you in the face. I'm going to take the time, and we're going to focus on us. Again, am I perfect? Heck no.
Yeah.
Will I always have to be better? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But being in a relationship and being a dreamer, it's very hard.
I believe that's where strength comes in relationship, though, is when you mess up like that, though.
Yes.
I think that's the most beautiful part about it, is like, if you've really found the person that you guys really gel together with, no matter how bad you mess up, even if it's like a small mess up, there's always going to be like the love at the end of the day, the hug.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And for me, it's been a very difficult time to understand that, because I came from like more of like not the best relationship beforehand, and now moving into her, she's like literally the most perfect person ever, you know, like always. And now that she's moving on Saturday to Australia, she's going like all the way across the world to a different place. And literally like this whole, like she found out 2 weeks ago, and like now it's like time's ticking down and we're spending a lot of time with each other. But I think this time away from each other is going to help us grow a lot more.
Totally.
For me, honestly, I'm going to be happy with like having my own days to do everything and like all that stuff, which is going to be nice. But for her is like, I think for her getting out of her comfort zone and really pushing herself into a uncomfortable situation like that is going to be ginormous for her. And I think it's only going to make us stronger together. So,
but also encouraging her, like you're encouraging her. You're like, hey, like this is your dream. Go, like go do the thing. I want to do my thing. You go do your thing, and I support you and I cheer for you. Like Jake just got a job, and I'm like, go Jake, you go work corporate America. Heck no for me, but you. 3 thumbs up, like yes for you. And he's like helping me set up all the studio, and he's like, I'm gonna support you and cheer you on your endeavors. And I feel like that's also the beauty of it, that
it's a team.
Yes. And I mean, Jake and I grew up together. We literally were 14 years old when we started dating, and so
you guys are freaking awesome.
It's, I mean, just
honestly.
so crazy. But like, when you grow up with somebody, it's hard to then learn to be without somebody. And we had to do that of like, okay, Jake, like we don't need to be together 24/7. Okay, wait, no, it's actually really healthy that I go do this with my friends and you go do this with your friends. I mean, we've had to learn all of these things. If you were to sum up these past years of doing AF Soccer Club, finishing college, dreaming, and having all of these, cool places and things that you want to go, what would be the biggest life lesson that you've learned? Maybe not biggest, but what comes to like your mind first? I know that's such a loaded question.
Challenge yourself and don't give up. Those
I
are
love
literally
that.
the two. I think every single day you have a decision to do a hard thing or the easy thing. And if you choose the easy thing, you're making the wrong choice.
Yes.
So if you choose the hard thing, you're going to feel better after,
Right.
but you're going to feel terrible during.
That's how I feel about running. 100% how I feel about running.
I'm not a runner, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm a goalkeeper, so I'm far from a runner. You put me in running shoes, I'll go and I'll push myself, but I'll be sore for like the next,
you put me in goal and
3
I
days.
shield my face.
Yeah.
But no, that's exactly how I feel about running. I'm like, running 26 miles, no matter how fast or slow you do it, it is so hard. And to get into running, I think so many of us, we just quit, and I wanted to quit starting because it was hard and it hurts my body, and I didn't want to challenge myself. I didn't want to feel out of breath. I didn't want to put in the time. But like coming on the other side of how your 2 life lessons are, challenge yourself and never give up. And I did that with running, and seeing the reward or the fruit come out of it. Man, I mean, it's just been beautiful.
You did your marathon, right?
Yes,
That's
I've done
crazy.
4. So
4 marathons?
4 marathons.
You're insane.
Yes.
Are you going to do an ultra?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know if ultra like running's for me.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, I mean,
A marathon is gnarly too.
For me,
Even a half.
I love to just like push myself, and I think like with marathon running, having a time and then wanting to get a better time is like more my forte. I don't think I know the art of ultra marathon running just yet, because it's like you got to run through the night, you got to do all these stuff. But a race that I do want to do so bad, it's called the Speed Project, and it's literally like you and 8 people, you run from LA to Las Vegas throughout the whole night.
Oh, that's so
sick. It's
sick.
like it's 300 miles, and so you're running like a lot of miles, but throughout the night, and you take turns like every 6 miles or whatever.
That's so. My dad did a bike ride from Huntington Beach all the way to Phoenix, Arizona one time.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, that was crazy.
Way.
Yeah. My dad's super big on like the ultra marathons, adventure races. He's done like this adventure race, which is like 500 something miles in like 8 days, and all you get is a map and a compass, and you like do mountain biking, running, kayaking, jumaring, like with the rope, like all these things, and all you get is a map and a compass. Yeah, my dad's all into that. So I grew up in the mountains. It was like, it's super fun.
Oh my gosh. How do you balance everything? What does that look like to you?
I think it's like classifying things that are really important in your life. So like for me, I can't fully say that I put enough time with my family, because I live at home, and I think coming home, seeing my mom in the morning, at night, I call that quality time, but it really isn't. So I think things take sacrifice.
Yes.
And you have to sacrifice many aspects of your life, which for me was, honestly, I've sacrificed a lot of family time away from my family and quality time with them. I've sacrificed time away from my girlfriend. I've sacrificed time away from friends.
Yeah.
But I have balance tattooed actually on my arm.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have balance right here.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I've actually never, I don't think I've ever had balance before in my life.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to like kind of maneuver.
Because I heard this thing where somebody said balance is BS.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you want to do something extraordinary, you have to do something extra out of the ordinary. And in order to do that, you have to be putting more time into certain things. And so I think balance looks different for everybody. Sometimes my balance that I have during the day it's 30 minutes with the Lord, and then it's 30 minutes quality time looking Jake dead in the face at the end of the day with no interruptions. And that's my balance. And maybe tomorrow or the next day it would be 3 hours with Jake and 30 minutes with the Lord and 2 hours doing whatever. And so I ask because it's hard, and I don't know that I ever will have balance, and I don't know that I fully believe that I ever can be.
Yeah. After like getting that, I put the tattoo on because I thought it was cool and it meant something to me. But after like growing with it, I'm like,
but it
could mean something. But for me,
totally.
honestly, I think if you have balance in your life, you're like kind of, you're very, I don't want to say, I feel like you're kind of like comfortable within where you're at.
Yeah.
For me, balance is like something I'm striving for when I'm older. I want to have a family, like I think they call it work family, or what is it? Family work balance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the goal one day, which why I'm working a lot right now, is for me to be able to go and watch my kids' games on the weekend and be there and never miss a game. Yeah. Because my dad did that and my mom did that for me growing up. They never missed a game. So I'm working a lot now so that I know in the future I'm going to be able to have that balance where I can be the best father that my dad was to me so that I can be that to my kids. Yeah. And have that balance of family, work. That's the goal. But honestly, for right now, I don't have any balance in my life.
I mean, we are literally cut from the same cloth, because I think Jake and I have this conversation all the time. Like, Jake, I'm working so hard now, so then when we're 30, we don't have to work as hard. Yeah. I'm like, it's our 20s, and I know we're supposed to enjoy, but I'm going places. I mean, I relate.
I feel the same. I literally say the exact same thing to Maddie.
Yes, like and he's like, what? Why can't we just enjoy life? I'm like, hop on the bus, bro. We're going places. I'm driving. Let's talk about futuristic things. Yeah. I want you to like say it and like put it out there, speak it into existence. Where do you see AF Soccer Club going? Like, what is on the horizon? And if you were to dream for a second and dream really big, what would be like the end all be all goal for this?
Honestly, a field, not really a facility, but a field with floodlights, multiple goals, a little like shed gym. And within the gym, there's like a little kind of entrance area where people can have like smoothies and stuff like that. And just like a hangout spot where we have at least 15 coaches on the field running sessions. On Friday nights, we have like a game night where people come in and they play pickup games and tournaments. And there's a live DJ playing. People can come rent out their field, do birthday parties, like a whole kind of like club field here in Southern Orange County. But ultimately, the real goal 5 years from now is seeing the kids I've been working with this whole time achieve their dreams and achieve their goals. Yeah. Because if they're not doing that, then we're doing something wrong. Yeah. So I think over time, when the kids start to really show who they are as athletes and who they are as people and really begin to reach their goals, that's when AF Soccer will begin to reach its own goals. Because without them, we won't be anything. Yeah. So we are growing together. I look at this business as a long-term investment. Yeah. 10, 15 years, because the kids I'm working with now that are 9 years old, 7 years old, the goal is for them to be working with us throughout their whole career. Wow. And by the time they leave and they grow, they're going to be like, you have had such a profound impact on my life. I appreciate you. The goal is like when they're 30, they still remember like me. That's the ultimate goal, you know? Totally. So it's a long-term investment. Like 5 years from now, I believe we're going to have more coaches. I believe we're going to be doing more scale of kids, hopefully definitely keeping the same values that we have, and just seeing the kids that we are working with achieve their dreams and goals. That is the ultimate goal of everything. And if that happens, then I believe that the business will begin to kind of go into its own direction.
If you could say something to somebody right now who has a dream and they're afraid of starting, what would you tell that person?
What are you scared of? Write it down and then think about it. And then if you're still scared, write more things down. Because if you have internal dialogue with yourself on why you are scared to start, you definitely know the answer. Yeah. And if you know the answer, then you know how to go about things. Wow. I I think writing down and having that internal communication with yourself is a really powerful thing. And I think a lot of people don't have that internal dialogue with themselves. Some people think it's weird. Some people don't find the time. And I mean, I catch myself doom scrolling all the time, you know, but that's honestly time you can be spending with yourself, getting to know yourself, because I feel like if you're really able to know your insides and outs, the way you think, the way you look at certain like things in your life, you're going to really understand what you are put on this earth to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that internal dialogue with yourself, or if you don't know who you really are, you're never going to take action because there's no one inside of you pushing you to want to take action.
Yeah, totally.
So I think if you're scared, write it down. If you know the answer, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Like it's your life. No one else is going to live your life.
Right.
Just do it. And that's literally like kind of what made me start. I just started thinking about it, especially with content, you know?
Totally.
That's so hard.
Oh
like to do some like,
yes.
I've gotten so much hate on the internet.
Yep.
And now I just find it funny. I like
Totally.
get so many screenshots and so many like memes of like these kids like making fun of my content, but it's honestly funny.
Yeah.
And I could see like if I wasn't like confident in what I was doing and knowing it's having an impact,
Totally.
like how it would hurt me. But like the hate drives views as well. So like keep up the hate.
I mean, I remember when I posted my podcast, I think I lost like maybe 1,000 followers.
No way.
It was just like every day I would like refresh, and I would get, I mean, when you're starting, I'm like, the numbers, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I just dropped out of school. And I mean, it was just like this tragic thing. But again, I was so tragic because I think back to that time in my life and I'm like, I would unfollow myself too. So, but I look back and I'm like, but my why was so much bigger and I haven't given up and I never will. Where can people find you?
Yeah. Well, my personal Instagram is dre.flores, dre.flores, Flores. My business TikTok, Instagram, YouTube is afsoccer.club. We've just surpassed 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Such a big deal.
Yeah, we just passed 10,000 followers on Instagram, and we're at like 4.5 thousand subscribers on YouTube. So
wow.
Shout out to Zill Media. That's our social media agency doing all our stuff.
Aww.
They are the best at what they do. Really close friends of mine, and they just are dialed. Having people that are go-getters around the same age as you, building something that they believe is so powerful and dream about for so much, even like you doing your podcast and a lot of my other friends doing other stuff. Like surrounding yourself in environment is the biggest thing.
Totally.
Your environment dictates where you will be. I think it even says that in the Bible. I forgot. Oh, yeah, I wish I remembered. Yeah. It says it somewhere in the Bible. Yeah. Like, don't walk with fools or something.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Don't walk with the fool and be a fool.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
Wise, yeah.
Yes, that one. So, yeah, shout out to Zill Media. They've helped us out so much.
Wow. I mean, I'm so grateful for your yes. I'm grateful for you taking your time to sharing your heart. Is there anything that you wanted to say before we wrap up?
Thank you. And where do you see this podcast going in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, I will be 27, hopefully pregnant. Hopefully doing this full time. Hopefully, I am interviewing a bunch of like-minded individuals. I am hoping that I could speak on stages and go to conferences, share my heart, share my testimony, and hopefully have a baby by then. That's awesome. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you think that, have you ever thought about like going back and speaking out of high school?
I have. You know what? I lead a group of freshmen.
No way.
In high school.
Like a life group leader?
Yeah, I'm a student mentor for them. So
that's so awesome.
It's this program called R12, and there's moms. It's a mom and daughter like charity league, like NCL. But the moms have a mom mentor, and the students have a student mentor. And Cal is the other student mentor.
That's awesome.
With me, and we've also led 7th graders who are now going to be sophomores. And high school, and I've actually spoken at every single grade level event. So I've shared my testimony with the sophomores, the juniors, and the seniors, and that's been really special to share like my heart and the things. And I actually, just before you walked in, had one girl text me, hey, this is from blah 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 from the junior class. I loved your story. I want to like hear more about you. And so we're gonna go on a walk or get coffee or something.
So
but
awesome.
yes, I love sharing my story, and that's definitely the goal, to just use my voice for the greater good.
Yeah, I think being vulnerable
Yes.
and showing that side of you, especially on camera, gets people to understand a different part of you that you like people wouldn't never get to know.
Totally.
And I mean, for me, it's like I get fired up seeing people be vulnerable in front of camera.
Yes, same.
Because it's a hard thing to do, but also you are sharing who you are and your lessons. Like for me, it's like I've had so many errors that I've done in my career that now I share with the kids that I work with, because I don't want them to make the same ones.
Right.
And it's so powerful to be that vulnerable, because
Totally.
you can stop someone going down the completely wrong path.
Yes.
that you went down, that now you can like give them advice.
Totally.
So, yeah, you're doing an amazing thing with this podcast.
Oh,
I
you're so
love
kind.
it.
Thank
And I am
you.
so blessed to be a part of an episode of so many. Shout out to you being so committed.
Thank
like
you so
you are a
much.
beast with this. So
Thank
I
you.
support you 100%. And thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. I'm going to pray us out.
Yeah.
Lord, we just come to you with just honor and glory and love for you, Lord. We come to you with gratitude, Lord. I just thank you for Andre. I thank you for the work that you've done in his life. I thank you for the transformation that you've done in and through him, Lord. I am so grateful for your plan over his life, Lord. And I am just so excited to sit back and watch all the places that he's going to go walking with you, Lord. Would you just continue to strengthen us? Would you just continue to walk with us, to push us, to give us more dreams, more visions, Lord, more of you? We can never get enough of you, God. You are so good. We love you, Lord. And it's in your son's name, Jesus, I pray. Amen. Thank you, Andre. I love you guys. I hope you have the most bestest week in the whole wide world. Bye. That was good.
That went by so.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Tune into the next episode. And while you're at it, leave a rating and review to boost the podcast algorithm to ensure that we grow organically. I love you guys so much. Have the best day ever.